case studies. The best thing to do if you want to put in-app purchases in your app is to take a look at the existing apps that use in-app purchases. Take a really hard look at what they're doing in that app, whether they're using a virtual currency, whether or not they're selling add-ons to characters, what it is that they've decided to do in order to attract purchasers to part with money in exchange for virtual goods. This whole process is quite new, and you'll find that techniques that are being currently used may not be the same techniques that will be used in a year's time. I would advise using your intuition in order to assess whether or not the current techniques are the most successful, or whether or not you might want to implement a different technique entirely. The best thing to do is obviously to download many apps that use in-app purchases as a system of payment. Explore them, get a real sense for them, really get involved and really get a feel for what it is these developers are doing. Obviously, many people argue that this is an insidious exploitation of the human animal and that we're more or less manipulating each other's subconscious into making purchases that we don't need to make. Whichever side you're on, you should find it interesting to take a look at in-app purchase-driven apps and really either get tips from them in terms of what it is you could include in your own app, or take a look at how the in-app purchase system has flawed those apps, has reduced the quality of the app, and what you might be able to do with your pay for app to really capture the market and bring people back to the high quality payment system where you pay up front and there's a kind of an expected quality to the app. Right, so my top tips for in-app purchase success. What I'm going to suggest is that you don't include in-app purchases. The problem with in-app purchases is that not only do they deceive the consumer, but they also misguide the developer. Rather than creating something that's beautiful and true and exciting and in some senses a piece of art, rather than doing this, you'll find yourself looking for ways to profit from the consumer directly by manipulating them. That's a massive distraction. Look at what's happened to electronic arts. Look at what's happened to so many companies that have tried to make money from in-app purchases. In many cases, they've been hugely financially successful, but on the other hand, they've sold out. They've sold their souls, and it's not a kind of an abstract idea. You look at the quality of the apps and the amount of pleasure you take from playing them, and the pleasure involved and the quality of the app is very, very low. Largely you find yourself simply oddly compelled to spend money in them. If that's the kind of business you want to get into, fair enough. But I think for most app developers, the reason why they develop an app is because they have a pure love and an excitement for creating things and distributing them throughout the world.